I thought nobody in the NBA took accountability anymore. Until I saw Tyrese Haliburton. Let's watch as Haliburton shows the NBA how to take accountability.
Tyrese, Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoman. Obviously had a stretch there in the fourth quarter where you really got it going, but felt like a lot of things were hard to that point. What were they doing? Anything different than what you saw in the first game?
No, I mean, this is who they are defensively. They got a lot of different guys who can guard the ball, fly around. They're really physical, force the officials to, let us play a little bit more. So just got to do a better job playing through there. I think I've had two really poor first halves. So, I just got to figure out how to be better earlier in games. But kudos to them. They're a great defensive team, but, watch the film, see where I can get better.
I know I'm a stickler for people showing evidence when they claim something, but regardless, he said how he felt and took accountability in the process. It must be nice for the Pacers players to have a teammate who doesn't run away from taking accountability all the time.
Tyrese, Vince Goodwill, Yahoo Sports. In the fourth quarter, it seemed like you got going off the ball a little bit where they couldn't track you. Was that just by happenstance? Was that like something intentional of yours? And is that something that you can kind of replicate early in games in these first halves that you said were poor?
Yeah, I think through the course of a series, even in the games that you lose, you're trying to learn from them, see where you can get better. So we had some success there. Me, playing off the pitch a little bit more, flying around, rather than, if I'm in that high ball screen, which, I feel like I am really successful at, that gives them a chance to really load up, pack the paint. They got a couple steals in there. I had some really dumb turnovers tonight.
This one is a little debatable because I don't actually hear him say the word I. However, right before he says, had some really dumb turnovers, he was talking about himself. That leads me to believe that, once again, he's taking accountability.
They're kind of showing like a soft blitz, sometimes a full blitz. They're giving me different looks. So I got to do a better job and just figuring out where I can be better.
He says he needs to do a better job at figuring out where he could be better. So he clearly believes that his performance in Game 4 wasn't good enough.
Most teams defensively try to take the three away first. They don't seem to really mind if you shoot threes. They're taking the paint away. So what's the challenge when you see a defense that's kind of unusual in that sense?
Yeah, I think you just have to choose. You have to make a decision on getting threes your way. I think we made some shots that were kind of on the swing. But we got to do a better job of getting downhill and just playing from the inside out. They are a team, like you said, really takes away the paint. Does a great job of swarming the ball. It feels like there's 5 guys around you every time you're in the paint. But we got to do a better job getting threes our way. And I felt like in the first quarter we were able to turn them over probably a little bit more than they're accustomed to, and we didn't do a great job of capitalizing on that. Again, when you're forcing turnovers like that, you should probably be getting more rim twos than just early kick ahead threes, and that's me, and that's where we can be better as a whole.
So this is an example of what I noticed that he does sometimes. He says the team needs to do better at something, then says he also needs to do better at that. So instead of blaming his teammates, he is taking a part of the blame as well. Quick question for you guys. We hear players all the time saying, we need to do this or we need to do that. But when did any player other than Haliburton in the last 5 years put some of the blame on themselves?
James Boyd, The Athletic. Ty, in the fourth quarter, only 1 assist, 20 assists through the first 3 quarters. Why do you think it got so stagnant late, and what did they do perhaps differently to affect the game so much?
Yeah, we got to do a better job. I got to do a better job of keeping pace in the game. I thought I did a much better job of that last game, especially down the stretch, keeping pace, getting rebounds, and really pushing. I think we got to do a better job of when we do get stops, getting out and running. A lot of times in that fourth, we were fouling too much, taking the ball out, having to, kind of run something versus, just random basketball. So I got to do a better job there. Watch film, see where I can get better. But yeah, that's on me. I got to get us playing faster down the stretch, and I'll be better Game 5.
That was his answer to the very first question after losing Game 4. So accountability was the first thing to come out of his mouth.
Tony up front.
Tyrese, you're up 4 with just 3 minutes to go in the finals. Give that one away. How do you feel right now? How does that one sit with you?
It's frustrating, of course. You want to win that game. especially a game at home where, like you said, you have the lead late. But that's just not how the cookie crumbled today. And so take a shower, watch film, see where we can get better, and be ready to go for Game 5. I feel like myself personally, I could be a lot better for us as a group, and we just got to get more stops down the stretch. 17-point fourth quarter. For the offensive success we had all game, I think is really shows we got to do a better job moving the ball, and I think that starts with me. So. We got to be ready to go Game 5. Obviously going into a hostile environment, we got to be ready to play. And, for us to win, we're going to have to win one down there. So, we got to be ready to go. And, we got a couple days to sit on this, watch film, see where we can get better. And, I'm excited about the challenge.
So, in both questions that he took accountability in this press conference, he took accountability multiple times. So he keeps showing why he's the MVP of accountability.
Reynolds AP, Tyrese, Rick said that there was a discussion at halftime about whether you should keep going or not, and that you insisted on playing, even though you're obviously laboring. What went into that decision, and how can you explain kind of how limited you were out there?
It's the NBA Finals. It's the finals, man. I've worked my whole life to be here, and I want to be out there to compete, help my teammates any way I can. I was not great tonight by any means, but it's not really a thought of mine to not play here. If I can walk, then I want to play. So they understand that, and is what it is, and got to be ready to go for Game 6.
Haliburton played Game 5 with a calf strain, and he's still taking accountability by saying he didn't play great instead of blaming his teammates.
Ty, this is the first time I felt like I've seen you guys in this playoffs get sped up by defense. Did you feel that way? And in what ways do you feel like that contributed to your turnovers?
Yeah, I think it's a good point. I think we got to be better. I honestly want to watch the film. See where, different areas. I felt like especially there in the fourth, we had some really bad turnovers. Me, myself personally.
Again, he played Game 5 with a calf strain. And he literally just blamed himself for bad turnovers. He had the perfect excuse to blame other people and avoid taking accountability, but he took accountability anyway. That tells you all you need to know about his leadership. He would rather blame himself while injured than to blame his teammates. Class dismissed.